Hi, what you're looking at here are some Litko paper stands. They're my birthday gift, and I'm really excited about them. When I was looking into them, I really wanted to see a video review or something that talked about them, so I thought I'd make one myself. This is one of the paper counter stands. If I get a close look at it, you can see it's just kind of two pieces of plastic on top of another plastic counter stand. Now this is for a large creature. And here is a paper counter that I made just using some of the art from D&D Insider, which you can just kind of wedge into the plastic and drop in, to make a counter that's specific to your adventure. And you can see I've got different things here, chimera, different critters in the background. These are the huge stands, and these are the gargantuan stands. And all these little guys are the medium stands. And all of these things I've actually fitted so that they'll work with the Alia Tools counters, which I really like, just for tracking conditions and things. So with Alia Tools, you can use these little stackable magnetic counters, and I'll put a link up in the video description. But if you have one of these counters, you can just drop them onto the figure, and the magnet up the bottom picks them up. Now by default, the Litko stands don't come with magnets, but you can get these sticky magnets from Alia Tools and other places online. They're just 1-inch sticky magnets, and each of these things have had the sticky magnet added to it. That way they all work with Alia Tools. In fact, on the gargantuan stand, I've just unstripped one and just stuck one onto the bottom, and same with the huge stands. And on the large stands, I've actually taken these larger ones and cut out shapes that fit. So even though they stick out a little bit, I felt like they were still much more convenient, with all the different colors stacked onto the figure. Just stacked up like that is much more convenient than using them without magnets on, say, counters and such. So the reason why I was interested in going with this route in the first place is, I've got miniatures and I really love what they add to the game. I like having specific characters to the adventures I'm about to run. But the thing is, they're pretty expensive, and because they're randomized, they're hard to find. What I wish D&D would do is or Wizards would do, is just, give me a whole bag of, if it's too expensive, just make them unpainted and just throw them in a big bag of critters that I could, run onto my desktop. That way I can have fun with D&D. But I've bought plenty of miniatures. You can kind of see them stacked in there. But I just hate that, I end up using proxies. I say, oh, this character here, this is a dragon for this adventure, and it doesn't look like a dragon, of course. And so for a while I thought about taking, little pieces of printed artwork on squares and, sort of like the fiery dragon counters, just make my own and maybe use chipboard, sort of like Wizards is about to do. But I didn't feel like that was a time-effective solution. I didn't want to have to spend all this time drawing up these things, then finding chipboard for the circles, and then hope that I can find chipboard, for 2-inch circles, and then 3-inch squares with rounded edges. And even then, even if I got the chipboard, I wasn't sure how I would handle, putting the magnets on and working with the Alia Tools, which I really, really love. So in the end, I bumped into these Litko paper stands, and I just absolutely love them. They come undone, so you get the base and you get the two, per piece, and then you actually end up having to use this glue. I've never glued or done any kind of miniature stuff before, but you just dab a bit of glue, on inside one end and inside the other end, and then paste these things on and just kind of watch them carefully. And I just bought the glue that's recommended on their website. But pretty soon you have an awesome collection of these things. By default, the medium size, you can get 10 of these at once. The larges are 3 at a time, and then the huges are 1 at a time. The gargantuans are 1 at a time. And for my birthday, I got, you know, 2 of each set basically. So I've got 20 mediums and 6 larges and 2 huges and 2 gargantuans. And the gluing, you know, was just like an afternoon of fun. You can say that I bonded with them and got even more excited by these critters. And then today I just spent the day in Word actually just putting together these little things, just so that the little counter, just so I can slip them in. Like here's a cave bear, just so I can slip them in and have them for different adventures. And here's a some like a nightwing bat. I can't remember what they're called. Right there. So you end up with these gorgeous things that are tailor-made for each adventure. They only take a second to put together and print. I'll walk into the other room really quick. Just so you can see what I've done. This is just a Word document that I've got here. And what I've done is I've just used basic shapes. So if I go to Insert, Shapes, you know, and just choose a rectangle, it's all on a grid. So I can just paste a new rectangle right here. You know, go to Format, Auto Shape, and then the Auto Shape, go to Fill Effects, Picture, select the picture, and I can just throw in, you know, whatever I've kind of cut out a square, you know, to put in. So I can insert a dire bear, hit OK, OK, and now I've got a dire bear. And so you can just copy these bad boys and flip them around, and ta-da! So then you print out this sheet and you just cut them out with like a little paper cutter and you're all good to go. So anyways, I just absolutely love these counters and I wanted people to know about them. I think they turned out marvelously and they should add to any game with very little effort, because now, you know, even if you have minis and your players like to play, you know, their characters with miniatures, they can still bring them and face off against very specific monsters, you know, without having to bother with finding the miniature. So anyways, check out the links for the Litko Paper Counter Stands. They're part of kind of something that they call Jim's Lab, which is kind of a prototyping thing, which is probably why you have to glue them yourself. But I think they're absolutely fantastic, and I wish that someone else had done a video on them. So this is my video on them. Cheers.